So, hello everybody. Welcome to my live stream today via my Saratana Essentially Flowers page. I'm running a series of live streams in honor of full moon and in honor of the transformation that is possible when we engage with the nature kingdom. And today's live stream, I'm really delighted to welcome Aodaoin Hathaway, who is a very empowered healer, was when I first met her, but has kind of bloomed extraordinarily since she committed to a journey with Flower and Vibrational Medicine. So welcome, Aodaoin.
Thanks, Sarah. It's lovely to be here this morning.
Yes, absolutely it is. So you are very welcome, those of you watching live or via the replay. It would be lovely for you to let us both know that you're watching, because it's always nice to know who's listening and watching. You're very welcome to post up any comments if you have any questions or just areas that you're curious about. If you felt the same, please do share them with us. And we'll be very happy to reply either live here today or via comments later on. So one of my wishes for this actual series of live streams is to help people understand the power of flower essences and vibrational medicine. So what I've done so far is the 3 live streams I've done. I did one on Wednesday to honour International Women's Day, looking at flower essences for well-being. I then did one on the basics of flower essences, just helping people understand what they actually are. So if you haven't seen that one and you are very new to flower essences, you can check that one out. They're all on my page. Yesterday I did one about putting them topically on the body, so that they've been very sort of educational so far, what I've done, because when you apply them topically, it's a less known area that can make big changes, which again Ibeam has experienced. So my wish today is to introduce you to 2 ladies. So this is Ibeam, just sharing her interview with me to start with, and then later on this afternoon at 3 o'clock English time, GMT, I'll be talking to Rebecca Miller as well. So today it's all about helping you understand the long-term use of flower essences. And so, Aodaoin, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and maybe how you came to, what called you to the nature kingdom to begin to change your life?
Well, Sarah, I grew up in Ireland. Obviously, I'm back here now, but I had spent about 15 years in the States. I went over after college. And but growing up here, as you know yourself, there is a real connection with the nature kingdom. And I always felt that. I always loved flowers and animals, and always had a very strong connection with the dragons, which, I totally usual as I grew up. But, I left the US to work in publishing. Always been interested in healing for myself, energy work. And I continued with that sort of part-time, no matter what I was doing. The flower essences for me, my first introduction actually to vibrational essences, other than just seeing them, as an energetic tool. Obviously, when you're in the energy world, you hear about certain modalities, and it had always been kind of intriguing to me. But my first introduction to them probably years ago, when I first got my rescue cat Cougar, because he had a lot of medical stuff, a lot of allergies, and in the course of researching different things had found essences are very supportive for animals. and that if you're going to give something to your animal, it's probably good to take it yourself as well. So that was, I credit Cougar with my introduction to flower essences. And I had then sort of used them on and off myself over the years. And then, of course, in 2014, I was very strongly called to do your diploma, the flower essence diploma with the moonflower essences.
Mm. It's interesting. So many people that I hear from, and particularly that actually come onto our diploma, come via their animals.
Yeah. Yes, they're very clear, very clear on what we should be doing to support ourselves, you know. Yeah.
It is often, first of all, something that the owner, the guardian, actually seeks help for them, and then little by little it becomes very clear that it's a team, it's teamwork.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So that's lovely to hear about Cougar. So what called you to actually take part in a committed way? Because in our diploma, in our practitioner diploma, it is a very committed journey. It's an amazing journey, but it's well, for a start, it takes at least a year. So there's a commitment there just from time. It's not a quick fix at all. And when we commit, I mean, I don't think any of us really realize when I first started taking flower essences long term, you know, the question is always asked either directly or indirectly, are you ready to change? And we go, yes, I don't want my anxiety, my depression, my job anymore. But, you know, it's kind of, I remember somebody years ago, this is actually long before I got connected big time with flower essences. I went to see a homeopath and explained to her what was going on. And she kind of looked at me and said, Sarah, but you're going to need to change. There is no pill that I can give you that doesn't involve everybody else miraculously sorting themselves out and you just kind of stay quiet in the middle. It's about you. And I remember being quite shocked. And it wasn't the answer that I'd wanted, actually, but it began it all. And so tell us a little bit about how you found your way into finding the courage to actually commit to a journey of finding yourself.
Well, I think probably a bit like yourself there, saying, you know, that you have to change, right? You have to want to change. And for me, it had been a very... well, I think it had been sort of a gradual series of events over about 5 or 6 years where we were sort of hit with one thing after another, you know, where you start off, you think, well, we'll get through this and then we'll sort things out. And now we'll get through this and now we'll get through this. And then one day you wake up and you realize, well, for me anyway, I had suddenly sort of come to the realization that for a couple of years now, that was back in 2014, say, before we spoke that summer, that I had been in survival mode, you know, rather than thriving, feeling joyful, feeling excited about life. I had just been surviving. We had a huge amount of financial stress where we were living, you know, a lot of emotional and outside stresses going on that were putting a lot of pressure on family life, on our marriage, on myself as being a parent. And somewhere in that mix, I realized I had sort of lost myself, you know. I remember I was working at the time at a local supermarket, and I was working the early shifts, so I would work from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., which meant I was walking to work. It was close by, walking to work at 5:30 in the morning, and it was always quiet. You know, it was my favorite time of day, actually, because it was dawn, the birds were singing, there was no one else around. It was very peaceful before sort of heading into the day. And I remember thinking at one point, you know, I don't know who I am anymore. You know, I've tried so hard. I was trying so hard to be a good mother and a good wife and a good provider. And in the mix, I lost myself. So for me, in many ways, I felt I didn't have a choice. I had to change because I could not keep just surviving. It was not an option anymore to just keep surviving. That was not why I came to be on this planet. You know, I didn't come to just survive. Not this time anyway. I came to have fun, and I came to be who I am here, to be magic here, you know. And but I knew that I needed some assistance with that. What I had been doing wasn't working. I knew I had to change. And for me, I loved the idea of committing for a year because I knew that I wouldn't let myself wriggle out of that. You know, I had sort of decided, because I'm quite stubborn. So when I decide I'm doing something, you know, I'm going to do it. And so that's what got me through in a lot of ways. That's what triggered the survival mode and made it work. But I was going to put that skill now to a different use. And because I remember you saying in our conversation about the diploma, oh, you know, it takes at least a year. You know, you can take longer than that if you need to. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it in the year. You know, and I did. I think I think it was the year. Yeah. So I had made that commitment to change. And as you know, once you make that commitment, everything will flow with you. You know. So the diploma, we're with taking a different flower essence each month, and with the support, which was tremendous. And I was also doing the multidimensional oneness program with Nalini at the time. So I really had a huge amount of support suddenly called in as soon as I decided that morning, walking along, this has to change, you know. And it was phenomenal, the shift that happened in that year. The amount of patterns that were released. I mean, I'm not saying it was not like a sweet and fluffy year, you know, as you say. I mean, flower essences take you deep, you know, they really do. But with the support that was there for me, I never felt alone. You know, I never felt like this is impossible. I always felt that it was that if I was going to stumble, that it would be out a hand there for me. Mm-hmm. And I was just looking over some of the workbooks this morning before we talked, and you know, it's just so funny because I remember a few essences having, you know, maybe not love it. I mean, most of them I absolutely loved, and then coming back to the ones that I had struggled with and trying them again a second time and finding it to be a completely different experience because things had shifted in the meantime, you know. So, and I'm never without them now. I mean, I think I've got 5 or 6 in here right now. The whole family takes them. My son has, every morning we have our routine. Did you brush your teeth? Did you put your essences in your water bottle? You know, it's just part of his lifestyle now. And I love that he has that too. I love that at 8 years old, he can say, Mom, I'm feeling really cross. I'm going upstairs and I'm going to find my perfect essence. And he'll do it, you know? I mean, what an empowering gift for any being. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he'll say to me, like, Mom, you seem a bit, you know, off right now. Do you need an essence? You know? Yeah. So it's become part of the vocabulary of our family. you know, and I love that. It's just brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing your story. And it is these moments of our lives are just so sacred. And the nature kingdom is such an extraordinary partner for life, and it does take us to those vulnerable places. But I think as we allow ourselves to touch them as well, we realize that it's actually in those vulnerable moments that we found our power.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You touch that part of yourself that is the strong part when you allow all of it through. And you're quite right that so many of us live our lives in survival mode, and of course we don't know that we're in survival mode because we have no idea what it feels like to feel differently. We have Esther joining us. I don't know if you saw Esther's comment, Aodaoin, but Esther says that what you're saying rings so true for her too.
Yeah, I think it is it's a very common thing, I think, especially for women, that we do tend to put others' needs above our own, and that's sort of programmed in and imprinted in. And of course there are times when that has to happen, you know, that is just, if you have a small baby, or you know, that is what has to happen. But the self-care and the finding of self and allowing that essence, I mean, through, is to me a crucial, vital part of being on this planet, you know, and it makes for a better, just be on experience, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, but many others maybe don't. Dr. Batch, who was the founder of the Batch Essences, which are the most well-known ones, and this is not a direct quote for him, but he shared something. I mean, he died a lot of years ago. I think it was around 1930, so he's been away from the planet in physical form for a long time. But he shared that one of the biggest reasons in his experience and opinion for people being unwell in body, mind or spirit was that they were not following their true path.
Yes.
So it's almost as if we take our focus away from what's wrong and we start to look with our hearts as to what's calling us, and we just take the first step. And many people listening might be thinking, well, I have no idea what that is. And I believe, Aodaoin, when you joined us for the diploma, you didn't know that you were going to be relocating back to Ireland. I mean,
no, I did not. In the space,
you didn't know that you were going to be founding a very successful business. It wasn't part of why you came on, but you took a first step towards being yourself. So maybe you can share a little bit about that with us, how that happened.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you said, when I signed up that September, it was for me. I had no intention of doing anything other than following the course and you know, working on myself. And then over the course of the year, so much was shifting for me. And of course, as soon as you know, once things are changing inwardly, they will change outwardly as well. And I had made a couple of essences the summer I was home, and they were really for me. Again, I just wanted to have some of Ireland with me in the US. You know, I was really missing it at that point. I loved being here. I felt so much more supported energetically here. But we made a commitment. We had decided we were going to stay in the US until my stepdaughter was finished with high school. So we had another year to go. So I made 7 essences with various sacred sites around Ireland, and I took those back with me. And they were, in fact, what would become the first of the Dances with Dragons essences. They became the Sacred Sites range. But when I was working with the sites, thank you, Suzanne, saying that's lovely to share your story. Thanks, Suzanne. When I was working with the sites, I had no idea that that they were going to be part of a business. They were just to support me at the time. And when I went back, that's at the end of that summer, we went back to New Jersey, and a couple of things had happened while I was away that were making it very clear, very, very clear, that we were no longer meant to be in New Jersey. And so we talked about it, but it was very clear to me that we needed, again, this was another sort of make or break point. This was a jumping off point, leap of faith. Let's do this and trust that everything is going to be okay. So we decided that we would, a few months later, November, December, move back to Ireland. And once that decision was made, I cannot tell you, because people will say, oh my God, a transatlantic move, that must have been a nightmare. It absolutely was not. It was one of the, I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of organizing, there was, but it was one of the smoothest things I've ever done. We found a lovely, perfect moving company with what we could afford to pay them, great people to move the cats. We've a perfect rental house with a really lovely landlord appeared here. Again, what we could afford to pay. It's in a beautiful location. It's surrounded by green fields. My stepdaughter and her mom were amazing. They really just accepted that this was what we needed to do, and that we wouldn't be there for those last 6 months of high school before she headed off to college. And they were just wonderful. And it just all came together. And instead of spending another year in a constant state of stress about money and worrying and dipping into savings and everything, we have had an incredible year. My business has Dances with Dragons is now at the point where we have, I think there's 29 available now with the Elementals collection and the Green World Connection, in addition to the Sacred Sites. They're all made with the Elementals here, and the new ones coming in are created with the dragons, which is just so exciting for me to bring that frequency through. And what is even just more lovely and amazing is that people are really resonating with them, and they really find them supportive. So I feel like all the gifts that I received from other Essence creators, all the support that I received from their essences and from the nature world beings, the elemental beings, in a way, I'm giving back now a little bit too, through working with elementals here and creating essences to give gifts of support again. But it really was one of those things where you see once you make that commitment, once you take that leap, you will be supported if you're following what is truly, your passion, where you're truly meant to be. The support just appears. But take the leap, trust.
Yeah, you have to almost take that leap, and it's lovely to hear. I know your story, and I followed it with great love and great interest for when you were training with us, and also since then I see how beautifully you're doing. But at the same time, hearing you speak about it again reminds me of that's exactly how our relocation to France happened too. Exactly how that. We crossed the English Channel, not the Atlantic Ocean, but it was nevertheless big. We also had cats to transport and limited finances as well. There was a budget with which we had to work in. but it was all really, really, really easy. And like you say, probably one of the easiest things we've done. So so it's very, very empowering to know and to hear that this experience kind of like rolls out, not just for a single person, that we all have our own stories with this. But I know Esther, who's listening right now, Esther has a similar story as well. And it'd be fab to actually talk to you about it in this way, Esther, when you're ready. And as you saw Suzanne's comment as well, Suzanne's watching, and I know Suzanne is an energy medicine practitioner and understands completely the idea of allowing ourselves to unfurl into our gifts. So yeah, so I mean, I think it's worth just joining the dots of beginning and after. And again, this has been a mirror in my life as well, of that woman who felt so lost, walking in the States, you know, one morning and realizing that she lost herself, to not knowing where she was going, but promising herself that she was going to now honor, my turn now to tear up, was going to honor her heart and walk forward in faith, step out of her comfort zone to being carried, literally, to your new life, and now experiencing not just more joy, but more happiness, an ability to hold space for your family in a completely different way, support your son. I mean, how amazing that he can have that support, and also nourish yourself with your healing business and help others. I mean, what better way of living our lives than doing that?
Yes, it's been amazing. Really, it really has. And it all started, I truly believe it all started with the flower essences, with the diploma, and unfolded as you just perfectly, you know, and with so much support. I did not have to do this alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And we aren't alone. It's always useful as well to have humans alongside us, actually. And one of the reasons I feel very called, why I felt called to invite you to speak, because for me it's really important. And this mirrors into your own business, and also of all the beautiful businesses that are being birthed through people going through the diploma. I mean, not everybody wants to do that, but many of them do, because why would, if we learn this skill and we get in our energy bodies how it feels, why would we not want to hand it back? And one person or a handful of people can't do this alone. We need lots and lots and lots and lots of people, not just training, learning how it feels inside ourselves, but also offering it out if that's the calling. So thank you, Aodaoin.
Thank you, Sarah. I mean, this wouldn't have been possible without you. I want to say that. I mean, that the diploma was amazing. The amount of support and knowledge that is there for anyone. I would say anyone who's thinking about it, go for it. Just go for it. You will love it. And you will be more who you truly are at the end of it than when you started.
Absolutely. And the more, thank you for saying that. Thank you. Something, you know, continues to burn brightly in myself to, you know, allow as many people as possible to know what it feels like to commit long term to your soul path, and to, if it calls, to be supported with nature. So it is one of the most extraordinary journeys. My own journey, I have no idea. Well, I'm sure you can tap into this, as we also now have Katrina listening. Katrina is also a graduate, and from the Green Isle, the Emerald Isle too, as is Suzanne, actually, I think. Yes, so we have lots of Irish energy, which is nice. But you know, it's not, we don't really want to dwell on it, but we don't want to think about, but it's worth just remembering who I might have been right now had I not taken my own leap of faith. And, you know.
Yeah.
So thank you. So what I would just like to share with everybody is that I'm running, let me show this to you. I love this software, it's just so fab. It's just like really easy. I'm so pleased that I'm able to actually do this. So tomorrow evening, Sunday, which is full moon, I'm very much a moon girl and work with the lunar cycles. So you will tend to see me being more visible around this time, because as Aodaoin and I were sharing, you know, the nature kingdom offers these beautiful cycles, and at full moon we are more supported to be more outward in our bodies. So tomorrow evening, which is Sunday, March the 12th at 7:30 GMT, I'm running a training, and you can actually take part by clicking into this link here. Let me just share it with you here. I'll pop it up now on the screen. If you'd like to take part, I'll be sharing with you some more about how flower essences can help you. This is not about training. The training to be a practitioner is available, but this training is not about that. It's very much about just helping you see that, because as Aodaoin shared, it wasn't her intention to actually take this out into the world as a business, or even as a practitioner. You were literally doing it for yourself. And I think there are so many of us that need to do things just for self-care, and to take the journey as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow evening. If you are listening and you would like to take a look at the diploma, I'm just going to share the link with you right now, and you can take a look. You're very, very welcome to get in contact, and very happy to have a chat with you if it calls you. So I'm literally just getting that link now to share with you. So here we go. So this is how you can find out more about our diploma, which took Aodaoin from being unhappy to being so shiningly beautiful, as you can see she is now, and sharing her dragon energy and all her lovely, lovely essences. So thank you, Aodaoin, again, from my heart to yours. Thank you for your courage, for your whole journey. Thank you for sharing with us your journey today, and blessings on your continued journey. And thank you to everybody that's joined us for this very beautiful heart-opening discussion. If you're watching the replay, then please show your appreciation of Aodaoin's story if you'd like to. And if you have any questions at all, then we'd be delighted to just hold that space with you. Okay. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Aodaoin. Okay. Blessing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.